Mbah to join us. We are also expecting the Secretary to the State Government SSG, Prof. Chidiebere Onyia, to join us in this meeting also. Permit me to recognize the presence of the ICPC Commissioner, Mr. Kennedy, who is here with us. You are welcome, sir. Gender Mobile Initiative, GMI, they are here in our state to tell us more about the practice. Thank you.
Thank you very much. My name is Dr. Enugu. I will be administering this pre-test to heads of institutions or their representatives. So if you are head of institution or the registrar or the dean of student affairs, please kindly indicate so that I'll give you the pre-test for you to take across. Thank you very much.
Please share presence. Of Enugu State, Professor Chidiebere Onyia. Prof, you are welcome, sir.
I want to just quickly say welcome to everybody, and then I'm going to, my pleasure to introduce you to Professor Chidiebere Onyia, the Secretary to the State Government of Enugu State.
Good morning. And I'm watching you more smiling when you say good morning back to me. It's nice to be here. When the Honorable Commissioner shared what this gathering was going to be about, it was exciting for me because in the past 10 years, we've been on this journey of trying to address unethical conduct in tertiary institutions. I was saying to him about 6 years ago, Professor Monsai, I hope you're really here live. We were in South Africa, in UNISA, on this same matter with law ethics when I was still serving as a senior advisor then. And we also did it in the University of Nigeria, Nsukka, and the Catholic University in Kenya, Nairobi, on this, on ethical conduct, sexual harassment against young ladies and young academics that are females. This is a very refreshing development for me as a person who was on the Enugu State government side. His Excellency is very bullish about this, and when the other commissioner told me that we've gotten this far, and that the national board is sat down and the policies be crafted, I was very happy about that. And ICPC has been getting all sorts of reports from students about academics that are supposed to be role models that are involved in sexual harassment. And this time we're going to take example with people in this state. Academics that we catch that are involved in harassing students and taking money from them or demanding sexual gratification for grades. I can assure you that once we're done with that information, we're not even going to take the public service or the school or union approach. We're going to take them straight to court. And I will be writing to the ICPC on this directly from government to partner in this process. We're doing it in so many sting operations. We set up a group to review IMT. And that one of the things I told the committee is to interview students, because we got information that some students are still being pressurized by academics to give them some sexual favor for grades. And this is what we've been hearing since we're in the university. I mean, if Professor Nebo was staying here as the Vice Chancellor, then when I started coming to the University of Nigeria as a visiting professor, this is one of the key things that I took out time to help them understand for every university that is trying to align to future growth trajectory objectives, sexual harassment, not just for students. I even did it for academics. Young female academics are being put under pressure by the
Assembly representative.
science technical board.
Yes.
Why do people start with due respect? Why you and your respect? Just tell me that you're here.
I'm here, Prof.
That is
I'm here.
Dr. Kennedy's team.
Dr. Mrs. Amaka Kene.
Amaka, that's
Yes,
what
I'm
I'm saying.
representing her.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. Thank you so much. With due respect, I acknowledge you.
So we say welcome to Enugu. The Commissioner Independent Corrupt Practices Commission, I recognize you. The respected leaders of our tertiary institutions that have honored our invitation, we welcome all of you. The heads of education boards, representatives of student union governments, we welcome all of you. My permanent secretary and directors of the Ministry of Education, members of the Enugu State Scholarship and Loans Service Board, all of you are welcome. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, members of the press, you're welcome. The policy document itself is a product of extensive research, collaborative research, assessments, peer review, feedback, resulting in this finalized policy document. At that conference in Abuja in July, consortium of vice chancellors of tertiary institutions in Nigeria were also fully represented. It was also conducted at Abuja in partnership with the ICPC. So I met also when I met your ICPC overall head for the fact. At that meeting was the Federal Minister for Education as well as the Federal Minister for Women Affairs. So this was a very important meeting, and each state was now tasked. Commissioner of Education was now given the responsibility to take this policy back to their state. So this is a collective endeavor, and I wish us a very successful celebration. Thank you.
Thank you, Prof. Please permit me to stand on the already established protocol. Good morning. Before we dive into the very essence of why we are here today, I just want to ask a question. How many of us were here before 10 o'clock for the meeting? How many of us came before 10 o'clock? Please, can we clap for them? I think this is where discipline starts from. And coming late to occasion is corruption. A one-day stakeholder meeting with the 36 States Commissioner of Education to strategize on the best way to address the pervasive harassment in tertiary institutions with a comprehensive focus on prevention framework. This program today, I believe, is in furtherance of the resolution reached at the stakeholders meeting. At the meeting, the ICPC chairman reiterated his commitment to pursuing justice for victims of sexual harassment in Nigeria and emphasized the need for collective efforts from all stakeholders to implement a modern anti-corruption policy designed for various educational institutions. This is indeed a laudable initiative. The enabler of these fights are born out of the culture of silence, fear of reprisal, and stigmatization that have allowed sexual harassment to strive in some quarters, but with sensitization and appropriate policy implementation,
It is hoped that the culture will gradually change. Prevalence of sexual harassment cases in this institution in Enugu State.
The gravity of such complaints contribute to penetrate our office, the Enugu State office, make imperative.
As I analyze below some of the reported cases, detail will be left out in compliance with Section 64 subsection 1
of the corrupt practices and other related offences Act 2000,
which provides the path as follows.
subject to subsection 2, where any complaint made by any officer of the Commission states that the complaint may the consequences of the information received by the officer making the complaint, the information received through in the complaint, the identity of the person from which such information is received shall be secret.
Our social media platform and other, these are ways you can reach us. You may not even need to report. If you feel threatened, you can access us through this platform. So, in conclusion, we believe that this convention is ideal, which time has come. It is hoped that the presentation, interactive panel discussion will serve an opportunity for peer review to present stakeholders and experts in the education and law enforcement spaces of Enugu State at much desire opportunity to work together to check, if not to eradicate the scourge of sexual harassment within our educational institutions. Tomorrow indeed is here. It is our hope that with the attainment of this noble objective of this convention, both the people and the government of Enugu State will reap the benefits of educational institution free from sexual harassment and attain the legacy of zero tolerance to academic fraud and sexual corruption for sustainable academic development. On this note, I want to once more appreciate the Commissioner, representative of the gender, for putting in place this laudable workshop. Thank you and God bless.
Good morning to all of us. And with your permission, I would like to stand on the very elaborate protocol already established by Professor Mbah. Please put your hands together for him again. Enugu State is the first state that we are visiting where the SSG was physically present. Have you ever imagined that the doctor that will operate you does not merit that medical certification that he or she got? Have you ever imagined it? So that we set the context, and the ICPC can also fact check me, so that you understand the level to which corruption in any form can be a cancer at any level. So when they talk about sexual harassment, don't just feel that, no, it's about students. It could be about students today, but by the time you go to operate your tooth and somebody is opening your stomach, I just watched Sabino's yesterday and it was hilarious actually. So I understand that is where I'm coming from. When somebody is operating your stomach, when you have a tooth problem, you would understand the level to which this cancer is eating society. Is this really a problem? A recent study showed that 69.8% of respondents had been sexually harassed as students in tertiary education institutions, and less than 10% of the cases were ever reported. What can we focus on? Definitional clarity of policies, effective reporting channels, and proactive bystanders. Exactly what are we doing to create a change? Designing anti-sexual harassment policies, driving mobile app adoption, and building proactive bystanders. These are our presentations. Will it make a difference? How do we know? We measure our impact by the number of institutions implementing a sexual harassment policy, number of cases reported, determined number of active bystanders, and level of institutional support. This is the theory of change of the campus safety initiative. Let us have an understanding of sexual harassment. What is sexual harassment? And I took the time to look for the definition of sexual harassment as provided by a policy, anti-sexual harassment policy that is in existence here in Enugu State, which is the University of Nigeria and Nsukka UNN Sexual Harassment Prohibition Policy. It says sexual harassment is a form of gender discrimination which is considered unlawful. It encompasses unwelcome sexual advances, unwelcome requests for sexual favors, or other unwelcome behavior of a sexual nature. As we go on, we'll give some examples to give context. Types of sexual harassment. The first one is quid pro quo sexual harassment. For those of us that are language experts, it means
Quid pro quo.
yes, quid pro quo. Give and take. Tit for tat. This for that. Offering or requesting a sexual favor or opportunity in exchange for a sexual relationship. Using pressure or threats to force a sexual relationship. And we saw a perfect example of this. It was well established. I don't know how many of us saw, but I know many people would have seen it. The elaborate BBC documentary called Sex for Grades in 2019. The story built until the intervention of the students that were present. This is an example of an extreme case of sexual harassment.
I have a situation in a school, I've been in school for a long time. I have a situation whereby a female staff asked a male student to come and help at work, help to do some work in the house. It may not have immediately a sexual connotation, but the male student said, no, I'm not coming, I'm not going. Because she wanted actually for him to cut the flowers for him. And the male student said, no, I'm not going. And so when the female student put it as a demand, a must, the male student, looking for a way to escape, accused the female staff of sexual harassment because he was being called because he's a male. Why not call the female? Why not call the girls to come and do the work in the house? And so the case gradually started turning to sexual harassment. And the teacher came out and denied and said, I had no intention sexually. I just wanted him to work for my house. So in this type of case, is it sexual harassment?
First of all, sexual harassment has to be of a sexual nature. That is the bottom line. So just like the Honorable Commissioner said, when you start doing this, it is a description of the sexual orientation of a person. Because men are not shaped like this. Men are shaped like this. Because sex is involved and a person's sex is determinant of course, their sexual behavior. That in itself can be defined as sexual harassment. Because he's a male and she's a female. So this policy that is with the Honorable Commissioner, it does not distinguish gender. It doesn't distinguish gender. It applies to all genders. That is what it does. And I just downloaded it from the ICPC website. So please, you may go there and find it. The Model Anti-Sexual Harassment Policies for Educational Institutions in Nigeria. You can find it on their website right now.
Deliberation. God bless all of you.
I think this is just beyond students. We're also looking at this holistically. Sexual harassment in any form is something that we are completely against as the state. So this whole policy put together with the partnership of the federal government and now being domesticated in Enugu State, and will be led by the Commissioner for Education. What we're trying to do as a state is to ensure that at every point in time, our female students feel safe to be able to express and experience the learning process in a university or any higher education is without being scared that at the end of the day, trying to study and take any form of assessment does not matter, since it's going to end up with some lecturer somewhere demanding some form of payment for doing their job. So what we're trying to do here as a state is to make sure that we domesticate this policy, and we set a framework that holds people accountable, so that if this was a culture in the past under Dr. Peter Mbah, that culture will be dismantled, where people come and do their job because they are being paid. These lecturers are being paid to do this job.
So what we have here is the stakeholders engagement at the Enugu State leadership level between Enugu State Ministry of Education and the heads of tertiary institutions in partnership with Gender Mobile Initiative, the ICPC, Enugu office, to domesticate the national anti-sexual harassment policy in our tertiary institutions. So this stakeholder engagement is the first, is really the second step. This process began in Abuja in July as a national conversation, and now Enugu State has taken the practical step, which is the second step, to begin the domestication. And following the stakeholder engagement, the Gender Mobile Initiative group will now go to our tertiary institutions and begin to implement. As you can imagine, this is all part of the Safe Campus initiative. We want to create a safe, inclusive and respectable campus environment to ensure that all our learners and all our professionals in academia have a safe learning environment, a place where people do not feel threatened or hindered from excellence because of their sex or because of any type of sexual harassment or sexual assault. It is part of the ethical leadership mandate of His Excellency Dr. Peter Mbah for Enugu State. And the Gender Mobile partners are very impressed with the turnout. The Secretary to the State Government was here to flag off this convened convention and to emphasize how critical this process is for Enugu State.
Okay, sir. Okay, sir. People were very tough on sexual harassment. Can you tell us what the ministry is doing aside this campaign now to also eradicate this menace in our institutions? What is the ministry doing privately to get this done?
The ministry, there's nothing private the ministry is doing. The ministry has oversight over all our tertiary institutions, but also over senior secondary and basic education schools. And so what we have here is we have a comprehensive policy initiative to ensure enforcement and compliance across all our educational institutions. But it begins with education, sensitization, awareness, and also putting in place enforcement strategies. This is about building structures at the student level, at the staff level, at faculty level, at management level, and that is what we're doing.
You will recall that the ICPC took a professor of law at the University of Calabar to court over sexual harassment. This is to show the extent at which the Commission is dealing drastically with such kind of monster in our university. ICPC will not condone people who confer undue advantage, using their position to confer undue advantage, and also use their own position to facilitate vices that are inimical to the well-being of the society.
My name is Ernest Ogezi, PhD, the Learning Measurement and Evaluation Manager at Gender Mobile Initiative Abuja. Yes, Gender Mobile Initiative seeks to
enhance gender equality, and we do this by ensuring that sexual and gender-based violence is removed. We're working on eradicating intersectional gender inequality in society, and we do this through the lens of sexual and gender-based violence prevention. We have a collaboration with the ICPC. The Model Anti-Sexual Harassment Policy, which has been adopted by the Federal Ministry of Education, was developed by the ICPC in collaboration with Gender Mobile Initiative. That is the first. Secondly, if we come to your institution after we have signed an MOU with you, we're going to set up technical working groups, TWGs. These technical working groups will be trained by the ICPC. Already, the state has gone by introducing us to institutions within the state, including private institutions, I'm telling you. So we also have private institutions here. That is how the state has come in. Okay. So you see there's a connection between the state inviting us, and we are going to work with the states in establishing or developing their own state-level model anti-sexual harassment policy. Okay. The ICPC is already there. It is part of the mandate of the ICPC to ensure that abuse of power, abuse of position is not done in a sexual nature. Right. So that is how we are arranging.
Thank you so much, sir.
Right.
Your name again, sir?
Ernest Ogezi, PhD.
Ernest
Yes.
Ogezi.
Ogezi.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.